Hi guys, welcome back to Harry Makes It Up. Today I have a very special guest in the house. It's going to be so hard to be well behaved today. I can just feel it. I can see her over there, dancing in the background. I've got Lindsey Kelk in the house. Very excited. Can you tell? Well, maybe you do or you don't know. Lindsey is getting married, which is very exciting. So she probably is doing her own makeup on the day, but we thought we'd have today just to go over a few wedding makeup tips, do a little kind of summary to kind of fall vibe. Well, general classical bridal makeup, but with a Lindsey Kelk twist. So that's what you're getting today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd love for you guys to subscribe, and let's crack on with the video. So it's all about skin prep. Now I did this off camera just to save time, but we have used some of the, let's put them there. Oh, it's a mirrored monitor. Hey! Some LMS dynamic resurfacing facial pads just to give the skin a really nice deep clean. And we've put some lip balm on. So before I go to moisturizer, I think if you are getting married, one of the best products for eyebrows that are more waterproof and more longer lasting generally are the kind of eyebrow pens. So I'm going to use the Glossier Brow Flick, and this is in the shade Blonde on Lindsey. We already started on one brow, so we were like, la. But I just think this gives fullness in a very soft, natural way, and you can still layer with something like a powder on top. You could layer with a pencil as well. You can mix shades if you want to make it a little bit more dimensional, but this is definitely a long-lasting product, which obviously when you're getting married, you want it to last the full day. And it's definitely one you want to have a practice with. You want to store the pen upside down, and I'm just going to start where there's any little gaps first. So you used to have your brows microbladed, didn't you, Lindsey?
I did,
so
yes.
You've got like a tiny bit of pigment left still.
Mm-hmm. You can see a couple of strokes inside the brow where it's clearly going to be there for the rest of my life. But for the most part, it has faded now.
And just go, I think of it, you almost want to think of it as like tickling. Just like really, really subtle. I'm going to turn you that way a little bit. This is so funny doing your makeup, Lindsey.
I'm enjoying it.
It's so
It
funny.
is ticklish.
Yeah, I mean, you just want the lightest touches if you're barely grazing the skin. Yeah, you were saying you found it quite painful, right?
Exceptionally painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's tell the audience about your experience, because that's something a lot of people might think about doing for weddings.
So I loved the result. I have really light eyebrows, and also I have an OCD tendency. I suffer from anxiety, and when I get very stressed, I rub the centers of my eyebrows. It has a medical name, it's a whole thing. Check it out. But yes, I rub my eyebrows out, so they are quite patchy. So I decided to try microblading as an alternative to filling them in every day, because I don't know if you know this, Harry, but eyebrows have been quite in for the last few years.
They're having a moment, Lindsey.
Yeah, they're having a moment. So I went and got my eyebrows microbladed. I loved the look. I loved my technician. It was all fantastic. She was great. She measured everything out, did it all perfectly. That would be my main thing, would be to research, get someone really good. But it was exceptionally painful, and I have a pretty high pain threshold.
You have tattoos and stuff, and you said this is more painful than a tattoo.
I had lip filler,
which I think says a lot.
Botox, I had a lot of dental work, and it was probably even more painful than my root canal.
Wow.
It was genuinely, because it's sustained. You have to lay there. Sorry.
Don't want to draw you some scary ones.
I'm like, not that much Botox. It's a sustained pain.
Yeah.
Because you have to lay there for sort of 2 hours, upwards of 2 hours to get it done, while they just keep cutting tiny little marks into your face.
Yeah, see, when you described it as like cutting back into the cut they've
It
already
is
made,
cutting, and then they cut over the first cut to do a second cut.
Woofed.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep that in mind, guys. If you already have microblading and you're used to it, then obviously if it works for you, go for it. All I would say is a big kind of no-no before the big day is doing anything like that that's quite drastic too close to the actual day.
Yes.
So give yourself time to test things out, try them out. I feel like you get a really nice fluffy brow still with the brow pens. And obviously it always looks a bit strange when there's no other makeup on. So bear with us. So
That's great. I'm just gonna get married like this. This is it.
With the balm lighting.
Hey,
we
Jeff.
just keep singing that.
You just walk around with a light over me.
I'll just
and instead
softbox
of
you for your... So when it comes to skin, this is the thing I get asked so much is foundations. What foundation should you be using for your wedding? Now, I think preferably you want either no SPF or as little SPF as possible, unless the only exception is if you've already tried a foundation that has SPF and you've tested it, perhaps with a flash on your phone, like your camera phone, just get an idea of how susceptible it is to flash, etc. Now I like to go slightly more matte for a wedding foundation because I'm going to put the glow in everywhere else. So I actually do start with a very, very dewy moisturiser. This is the Lancome Rich Cream, which I've obviously decanted. It doesn't come. You'd be a bit disappointed if it came like this.
I would be.
You'd be like, that's a lot of money for a plastic Muji pot.
Although, you know, it's sustainable, so we like that. It's 2019.
This is just for carrying around.
Oh, I
so
like that.
it's very, very creamy. It is, as the name suggests, very rich, but I feel like it makes whatever foundation you put on top of it look incredible. And then it stops a matte foundation looking too flat. And I feel like you want enough moisture that the foundation, stays looking great throughout the day. And you want to take down your neck, anywhere else that's kind of on display, obviously if you've got your décolleté out. Now, foundation, me and Lindsey were chatting because I said I wanted her to bring in her favourite foundation. I think this is possibly the one you're going to use on your actual day.
This is most likely the one I'm going to use, yes.
So it is the La Mer foundation, which, funny enough, I've never used. So I'm very, very excited to have a proper play with this. The one that I tend to use most for this kind of look is something like the Dior Forever Skin. I really, really like their formulations because they also have a matte formula and a glow formula. So sometimes I'll even mix between the two to get like the perfect level of glow and matte. Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk I think is a fail-safe. You can't go wrong with that one. If in doubt, just head to Armani counter.
That's my alternate.
Yeah, I feel like they're so good. But I feel like I always mention that one, and I think when I've done bridal ones in the past, I always use that. So I wanted to use different ones today. You said you like using this as a sponge, but I'm very tempted to use it with a brush.
A brush is
because
also
of this
pretty.
moisturiser.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go in with the La Mer foundation because I think a lot of you guys will want to see. And just so you know,
This is ivory, which is the
O2.
neutral.
Yeah.
So it comes in cool, warm, and neutral options.
Yeah. You want something to apply with and something to buff with for a really nice, seamless application. So I'm always going to start nearer the centre of the skin because we really want to... I mean, Lindsey's got amazing skin right now, so you don't need much coverage. But I think really it's just about evening out. It's about balancing. This brush is incredibly cheap. It's from Colourpop. It's like $5, I think. And it's amazing. So I'm just giving a little buff. And I think as well, think about the areas where you can lose coverage quickest. So for me, it usually is kind of around my mouth, around my nose. They're kind of areas where my skin just absorbs the product really, really quickly. Okay, so this product is from Sian Richards, who is a film and television makeup artist. She's based in London, and she creates these 4K palettes, which, yes, I appreciate it's a lot of makeup, and this is more of like a pro product. But for your wedding day, if you're doing it yourself and you're not paying someone else to do it, these are products you'll get to use for the rest of your life. I think that's the way to see it. Lindsey's like, yes, that's what's happening.
You get your husband and you get a palette.
It's win-win.
It's win-win.
These colours are fantastic. Yes, that is a pure white pigment. Now, these come
look like
in...
the colour of my face.
I'm going to show you how many different skin tones these come in because they're great. So there's all different palettes, but they go from as light as this to as dark as this. Wow. Wait. There we go. There we go. So there really is incredible concealer options in here, and definitely for kind of colour correcting, etc. So I'm going to use a little bit of this just for, I know you said, Lindsey, that you like to cover some of your freckles. So anywhere like on the forehead where I feel like Lindsey might want a tiny bit more coverage, that's where I would use something like this. This dries down very, very matte, but it feels so lightweight, it's like air. Okay, so again, similar to how I do foundation, I tend to have a flat brush and a buffing brush to apply. This one from Kasia Rice is really, really nice actually. So let's just have a look with some colours because that one's going to be super, super light. And again, this is something like the eyebrow thing, you know, have a practice, have a play, do these things a couple of times. Don't feel that you have to, you know, don't leave it till the big day. So if I turn you that way a little bit, Lindsey, so just a tiny bit of extra coverage I'm going to give Lindsey just along here, and then we're just going to buff. So I'm going to leave skin here for now. Now, I know this seems weird because this is definitely my style and not necessarily how you should do it, but I'm very much a back and forth person. I feel like I kind of start with a few things, then I like to go back. I like to see how the makeup wears, how it sits, especially with foundation. I don't like to powder anything until the very, very last minute. And concealer, I like to do after the eyes because I feel like that gives you more time, even if you're working with cream shadows, to like adapt any shapes that you feel aren't working. If you want to tidy anything up, it just gives you a bit more room for error without it being stressful. So onto brows, Lindsey.
Onto brows.
So on top of this lovely Glossier Brow Fix, which I'm actually really loving on you, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Brows, and this is in the shade Brigitte. So this almost has a little bit more of like a greigey blonde, which I think is really important because the Glossier one has a little bit more warmth in. So this will just work with kind of the cooler tones in your hair. And it's very, very subtle. It's not kind of like super gragey, but it will also just give you that fluffy look. Rowan Beauty, Lindsay. This is one you've wanted to try for a long time.
Yes, the dream. Look at it.
So look at this sparkly goodness. So I think these colours are like right up your street, baby.
Yes, that is Lindsey Kelk Strasse.
This is Lindsey Kelk. So I think a really good thing to do for wedding is to kind of layer products. So cream and powders, obviously, I think we're always taught like don't put them together. But I think if you're layering in a really clever way, you can make a really long-lasting, beautiful look. So I am going to start with, actually I'm going to start with a quite plummy shade first and just use that to give a bit of shape. You could totally use an eye primer. I find if I'm using cream first, I don't always need an eye primer, especially if I'm going to set with kind of powder products on top. So I'm going to go straight in with this. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
She's doing it!
So one thing I will say about the Rowan products is they're very finger friendly, which is fun to say. Okay, close to me, Lindsay. So we're going to start with a wash of this, which is a more deeper shade, but we're going to take this up to the crease and then kind of smudge that in so we get a bit of definition. So, I mean, this colour is even gorgeous just on its own. It's like a really nice muted smoky
really
eye. It's pretty. It's got that kind of like greigey silver undertone in it. So now I'm going to take my finger. I'm just kind of using my finger and close me, Lindsay. And you can see the difference when you use your finger. Oh my goodness, she's pretty. Okay, and then we're just blending. I'm going to turn you back a little bit that way, and we're just going to blend her in. Okay, so we're going in with a little pencil brush now, the same shade. So just to clarify, we're using this one, which is the kind of more purpley greige. We're going to go under the eye. Because I
can't
think
wait
it is nice
for my actual wedding day when I'm sat in my house watching myself on YouTube trying to copy your tutorial.
So just to entice Miss Kelk even more into the shimmery goodness, because who says you can't wear shimmer on your wedding day?
No one, not me.
You have to wear
Filth.
what feels like you.
Filthy lies.
Yes,
Yeah.
filthy lies. So we're going to take Lindsay. Basically, I'm trying to use products that Lindsay has wanted to try for a long time. So that's what today is. It's playtime. It's play fun. This is Bodyography. This is the pressed glitter pigments, which I think are such a good staple in your makeup bag because you can do so much with them. So I'm going to take a little bit of Eclipse, which is this kind of silvery pinky shade.
So pretty.
And I'm going to have a brush to hand, and I do think the best way to apply these is with your finger. So we're just going to go into the centre of the eye now, and I'm kind of focusing it on the centre, and then just with what's left on your finger, you're kind of like pacing it outwards a little bit, and oh my goodness, it's like
Look at that. Oh,
it's like your red carpet moment, Lindsay. So we're going to take Halo, which is like the not creme de la resistance. That's all kinds of wrong.
the creme de la creme.
Yeah,
No,
that one.
Piece
Okay.
de resistance.
So
The creme de
tiny,
la
tiny
creme.
bit of this, which is more silvery. So hold for me again, please, Lindsay.
Oh.
Thank you. And close. And then we're just going to do one little dot again of the silvery goodness. So I'm moving on to giving a little bit more definition now with Lindsay's lovely eyes. So I'm going to take the shade Shadow. This is quite a cold grey, but it's deep enough that it's not black. I feel like black would look too severe. So I'm just going to use Shadow, and I'm just going to get another pencil brush. She loves a pencil brush.
She loves a pencil
She
brush.
loves it. And just off the tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Close your eyes, me, Lindsay. And we're just going to go in and just put this into the roots for a little bit of definition. Okay, so I'm just going to take this palette from NARS, which also has a really nice amount of cool tones. It's called Suede, and this one is really nice mixed with the shimmery one. I think I'm going to use these two to make a kind of custom liner for Lindsay. And I think if in doubt, powder, especially if you're doing it again over these like layers of eyeshadow we've created, will last, and they keep it looking really soft. So I'm using a really thin winged liner brush. This is a Sigma EO6, which I love. And just thickening up slightly on the outer corner. Open for me, Lindsay, and look down. And I'm going to flick it slightly. It's not a Harry flick, it's a Lindsay flick.
She loves a flick.
I'm going to go in with some mascara. I think it goes without saying waterproof mascara is going to be a wise choice.
We're a very emotional person, Harry. And
well,
very
we are.
likely to just spend the
Yes.
whole day sobbing.
Well, it's your wedding day. Hopefully happy tears.
I
I married a boy.
It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say.
We're going to go with Urban Decay Perversion. This is the waterproof version. So look right down for me, Lindsay. And I'm going to do one coat first. And we are going to add some individual lashes in as well, just to give a little bit of oomph. I think that's the thing as well with wedding makeup. It's like, how can you elevate the products you already love, just to make them feel that little bit more special, and for makeup in general to feel that little bit more special on your big day. Okay, Laura Mercier, this is the Flawless Fusion long wear concealer. We want all of that long wear goodness.
We do.
So I'm going to start with 1N, which is quite neutral actually, very similar to your foundation shade, I would say, Lindsay. Maybe like one lighter.
Yeah.
And you remember I said earlier about cheating for eye. I feel like this is where you want your concealer to really help you. I'm using very small amounts as well. I'm not going crazy, but I just think this is where you really get that kind of like sculpted look without it having to be about using contour products and highlighters and stuff. It's just using your concealer to like lift your eyes.
I know it's really
pretty.
pretty. I'm buying all of this.
I've got black eyelash glue. You can use any you like. Okay, Lindsay, come to me. Okay, turn more to me. And look right down. So open, but look down. Now, I do think I will say with individuals, it's going to be one of those things that if you're doing your own makeup, this is similar. I mean, everything really is about practice. And I think, you know, get EastEnders on, get something on the telly, and just sit with a little mirror and just get used to the feeling of applying them on yourself.
Or download my latest book on audiobook.
Oh, there you go. Cheeky plug. No, stop it.
Quite proud of myself for getting
that was very natural.
Yeah, I was like, you know, you don't want to be distracted by what's happening to Dot Cotton, but you do want to be distracted by the fantastic, hilarious adventures and hijinks in a Lindsey Kelk novel.
Oh, that was very well done. That was like you weren't even reading it. That was like...
Somewhere out there, my agent is very proud of me.
So let's talk about base, guys, in terms of adding colour now. I feel like we've got concealer, we've got foundation on, and generally speaking for weddings, I think if you are going for more coverage in your foundation, especially if you do flush quite a lot and you feel like, especially with the attention you're going to be getting on your big day, you're going to be feeling lots of emotions.
So much attention.
Go for something like what we've used on Lindsay, where it's full of coverage but very lightweight, so it doesn't feel like you're wearing any makeup. And I think it's about still the whole way through building thin layers. So I do like to use a liquid liquid blush. This is the Perricone MD No Blush Blush, and I find it's quite a universal colour actually. It's great on darker skin tones, pale skin tones. Just smile for me, Lindsay, and I'm just going to start applying a thin, this is very translucent, this colour, but I feel like it's nice to have this under anything we do next because, again, just working with those nice thin layers and making everything longer lasting, I think liquid blushes are just such a nice way to apply colour. So I'm just going in now just with a thin brush under the eyes just before I powder, just to do a final kind of polish, if you like. So anywhere that needs a little polish. And for me, it has to be the Hourglass Veil powder is a favourite. I love it. And I think you want to kind of use a loose powder when you first start your makeup and then perhaps give one of your bridesmaids like a pressed powder or something for later in the day. So for weddings, I do like to do a light dusting all over. It's probably the one time actually, just look up for me, Lindsay, that I actually do powder pretty much all over. So I'm just using a fan brush just to give a little bit of mascara to the bottom lashes because I like mascara on the bottom lashes. I feel like it just opens the eye up again a little bit more. So I have this palette from Suq, which is one of those colours that it's a bit kind of like, it's more like a neutral. I would say it's not too warm, it's not too cool, but it's good for adding a little bit more definition. So I'm going to take this Shu Uemura brush and I'm using the lightest end. There we go. And I'm just going to knock quite a bit of the product off. And I'm just going to use this to add a little bit more shape. And I use it so lightly, like I'm just kind of skimming the face. Because I think blush is nice, but also, especially keep in mind, you're probably going to be flushing a little bit anyway. And, you know, you might get a bit hot and bothered. I don't want to make anyone too blushy before they've even started. I also like to take a little bit just through, so it's kind of like all connecting. I just get fear of the dolly blush.
The Carrie Bradshaw season 1.
Yeah. I'm leaving that in. Dior highlighters. This one is the Dior Backstage Glow face palette, and I just love the colours in this. So this pink actually becomes like a really nice way to make your blush highlight glow all together. So I'm kind of taking it higher up, but then I'm almost like taking it through the blush, which is a nice way again to, I'm going to do the little, to get the glow in your skin without using the cream products, especially if you want it to last all day. So, and I'm going to bring you back the other way, Lindsay. There we go. Just forgot as well, I'm just going to take the white shade and the pink shade mixed together on a small, again, kind of pencil shape brush. And just look up for me, Lindsay. And I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that on the inner corner, just for a little extra pop of brightness. Lip pencil, we're using Pale Pink by Bobbi Brown, which is just a brilliant lip pencil. It's one of those kind of like OG colours, I feel like that. And I think there's one called like Pale Nude or something, or that are both just really good colours. So just do a blot for me, Lindsay. So just taking any last bits of moisture that might be on the lip. And we're just going to use this. And I am going to give Lindsay a slightly larger pout. And she's going to have like crazy corners.
The whole lipstick.
I loves it. Turn back to me. Don't think you've ever been this well behaved, have you? I'm just going to go, most people have like 2 lip lines, so I'm kind of choosing to go slightly higher into Lindsay's like second lip line. You have such a nice lip shape, Lindsay. I think if I'm not filling in with the actual lip pencil itself, then another technique I use is using something like a liquid lipstick that I can just use to kind of stain the lip. So not applying it all over as the actual product, but just to give a bit more intensity underneath. So if anything kind of wears away, there's another layer underneath. Okay, so I'm just using a mix of some Tom Ford Pale Pink lipsticks. I think this is Spanish Pink and another, I think it might be Blush Nude actually, Blush Nude and Spanish Pink. And this is just a really pretty pinky tone. And again, because we've layered with the lip pencil underneath, that's going to really help it last as well. I'm just going with MAC Boldly Bare now that I've got the lipstick on. Just going to do a little bit higher just here, just to pronounce that lovely Cupid's bow that Lindsay's got. Just using that just to add a tiny bit more shape. And a little bit on the bottom lip as well, just like a little bit of extra shadow, so it's very subtle but it just makes the lips fuller.
You've saved me $600 in lip fillers.
And the final finishing touch, I think, for any wedding is a setting spray that suits your skin type. So me and Lindsay are both huge fans of the Urban Decay All Night setting spray. Lindsay, are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
If I could slow this down in like slow motion. But I hope, guys, that you've enjoyed this. We have had too much fun. It's been like the naughty. Oh, it's so naughty, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was worth it.
He loves it. Thank you, Lindsay, for letting me paint your face. I've wanted to do
Thank
it for so long.
Thank you for painting it.
So
it's so
fun.
pretty.
So Lindsay's getting married. Send her loads of love in the comments. If you are getting married, congratulations. I hope you have an amazing day. Let me know what your kind of go-to makeup look will be. Like I said, like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon for videos. Thanks, guys. Bye.